So let me tell you about this book. Just a few facts. First one, it was written back in 1937.
Okay, fact number 2. Even though it's that old, it has sold over 100 million copies. And get this, it's still selling today.
And here's the real kicker. Fact number 3, more self-made millionaires have cited this one book as the foundation for their success than literally any other book in history. So, you hear all that and you've got to wonder, right? With a track record like that, why on earth don't schools teach a single word of it? All right, let's get into it. The book we're talking about is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And believe me, its origin story is every bit as incredible as its reputation. This thing, it's not just a book. It's really the result of a life's mission. And that mission, well, it all started way back in 1908. A young journalist, Napoleon Hill, somehow lands an interview with the richest man on the planet at the time, the steel tycoon Andrew Carnegie. And Carnegie, he doesn't just give him an interview. He gives this young reporter a challenge, a proposition that was going to completely change his life forever. So here's what Carnegie challenged him to do. Spend the next 20 years, 2 decades, interviewing the most successful people in the world. We're talking titans like Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, John D. Rockefeller, you name it. And the goal? To find that one common thread, the secret that connected all of their insane achievements. Now, Carnegie wasn't offering him any money for this, no fancy introductions, nothing, just the idea. And you know what? Hill accepted right there on the spot. 20 years later, in 1937, he finally published what he found. So you can imagine, right? After 20 years of research, talking to over 500 of the biggest names in industry, what was the secret? What was that common thread he finally uncovered? Well, I'll tell you this much, it was not what anyone expected. See, he found that the source of all their incredible success, it wasn't that they were smarter than everyone else. It wasn't about their fancy degrees or who their family was or that they just got lucky. Nope. It was something way more fundamental. And here's the crazy part. It was something accessible to every single one of us. It really all boils down to this one powerful idea. Hill's whole thesis is that your thoughts are actual things. That a thought, when you mix it with a certain kind of emotional fire, a burning obsession, it literally transforms into a physical reality. The mind isn't just the starting line for wealth. The mind is the wealth. Let's put it in Hill's own words, because he said it best. Every fortune ever built began as a single thought. Just think about that for a second. Every single empire, every great legacy, it's all just the physical result of an idea that someone, somewhere, simply refused to give up on. Okay, so if your thoughts are like the source code, then what's the operating system, right? How do you actually run the program? Well, Hill laid out a whole blueprint, a framework of 13 principles. Let's dig into how it all works, starting with the absolute cornerstone of his entire philosophy. And right here, Hill makes a hugely important distinction. He says that most of us, we just wish we were wealthy. It's kind of vague, right? It's passive. But the real starting point for any achievement is desire, with a capital D. We're talking a burning, white-hot, all-consuming obsession for a very specific goal. A wish, according to Hill, gets you absolutely nowhere. But desire, that's the engine that creates everything. So, once you have that foundation of desire, Hill starts adding the other pillars. Things like faith, an unshakable belief that what you want is already coming to you. Then you've got acquiring specialized knowledge, using your imagination, creating organized plans, and forming a mastermind, which is basically a small group of people all working together towards similar goals. And he was really clear about this. This isn't some kind of weird mysticism. He saw it as the actual mechanics of how real-world achievement works. Now, to really hammer home just how crucial persistence is, especially when things feel absolutely hopeless, Hill tells this one story. And honestly, it's a story that has haunted readers for decades. He calls it 3 Feet from Gold. So the story goes like this. There's this guy, back in the gold rush days, and he pours everything he has into this mine. He digs and he drills and he's following this vein of gold ore, until one day, it just disappears. Gone. He keeps digging, finds nothing. And finally, totally exhausted and defeated, he just quits, sells all his equipment to a junk man for practically nothing. Well, the junk dealer, he's a little curious, so he hires a mining engineer to go check out the mine. And what that engineer finds is just
staggering. The original miner had stopped digging just 3 feet from where the vein of gold started up again. 3 feet! That junk dealer went on to make an absolute fortune from that very same mine. And the lesson there is just so powerful. That moment when it looks and feels the most like you've completely failed, that's so often the exact moment just before the big breakthrough. The defining difference between the people who make it and the people who don't is simply the refusal to stop when you're 3 feet from gold. Look, this philosophy is powerful stuff, but Hill was all about being practical. He basically said this knowledge is totally useless unless you actually do something with it. So let's break down the first 3 steps he says you absolutely have to take, starting like right now. Okay, step 1, you've got to write it down. Not just I want to be rich, the exact amount of money you want, the exact deadline you'll have it by, and your specific plan for getting it. Step 2, read that statement you just wrote aloud, twice a day, every morning when you get up and every night before you go to sleep. And this isn't just, positive thinking. It's about deliberately programming your brain. And finally, step 3, build your mastermind. Find 2 or 3 other people who get it, who are on your wavelength, and hold each other accountable. Because as Hill discovered, no great fortune was ever built by one person alone. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Riches begin with a state of mind. The starting point of all achievement is desire.
And maybe the most powerful one. Every adversity carries with it the seed of an equivalent benefit. So here's the ultimate takeaway from all this. Hill isn't saying that just wishing for something will make it happen. Not at all. He's telling you something way more demanding. He's saying that the real work, the hard work, starts inside your own mind, long before you ever take a single step in the real world. Most people are just waiting for the right time, the right opportunity. But what Hill's 2 decades of research proved is that the most successful people in history, they never waited. They decided. Think and Go Rich isn't a promise of anything, it's a challenge. And so the only question it really leaves you with is, how badly do you actually want it?